Well, what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity this is for me to see all of you. I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm here because of your president, Irene Hirano, a dear, dear friend. I'm so pleased to acknowledge Minister Yoshino, the Japanese Minister of Disaster Reconstruction for the Tohoku region. We certainly here in the United States have seen our devastation in the last 2 months, and we can certainly also receive wise counsel on restoration and recovery. You're going to hear from a wonderful, wonderful speaker, Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross. We, of course, have the Japanese Ambassador Sase here, and the Japanese Ambassador is doing a wonderful, wonderful job, and I think you need to give him a round of applause. We also have here, I understand, Ambassador Roos and Ambassador Schiffer, and of course, a special envoy to the Middle East, Minister Kono here as well. So you have quite a stellar array of dignitaries who emphasize the importance of this council and the mission that we're all trying to achieve. I think today's event is a tribute to the strong, enduring ties between Japan and the United States. It also honors the vision of the late Senator Daniel K. Inouye, one of the organization's co-founders. Senator Inouye was one of the very first people, congressional leaders that I met when I first came to Washington over 35 years ago, and I will always remember how kind he was to a young newcomer, and he was obviously concerned about other Asian Americans coming into Washington, and I have always appreciated his many kindnesses. Subsequently, of course, Senator Inouye and Irene and my husband and I have become very, very good friends, and we are still seeing the impact and the legacy of Senator Inouye even today. The Council's mission to foster engagement and understanding between America and the Asia-Pacific region is more important than ever before. And the new U.S.-Japan economic dialogue is strengthening economic cooperation between our two countries. And let me also congratulate Prime Minister Abe for inviting the first daughter, Ivanka Trump, to address the issue of women's entrepreneurship at the World Assembly for Women that just concluded in Tokyo. As a successful entrepreneur in her own right, the first daughter is passionate about helping women access opportunities and achieve their dreams. And as we all have seen on television, the President and First Lady enjoyed a very successful visit to Japan just a few days ago. This afternoon, if you will allow me to share a few thoughts about the innovation economy, which I know your Prime Minister, the Japanese Prime Minister Abe, has been also very concerned about, and also what the Department of Transportation is doing to prepare our country's transportation infrastructure for the future. My 3 priorities as Secretary of Transportation are: 1, safety is number 1. Number 2, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. And number 3, preparing for the future by preserving innovation and creativity, which is such a hallmark of American society. And this last point is especially important because transportation is on the verge of one of the most transformative eras in history. I'm referring to new, disruptive technologies that have the potential to change the way we travel and connect with one another. And these disruptors include automated or self-driving vehicles, drones, new systems to guide and provide surface transportation, Hyperloop, commercial space ventures, and many more. And in the not-too-distant future, vehicles will talk to one another and communicate with the infrastructure around them. So one of the biggest challenges facing our transportation infrastructure is to integrate these new technologies while ensuring legitimate concerns about safety, security, and privacy. So the U.S. Department of Transportation has a role to play in building and shaping this future by developing a regulatory framework that encourages innovation and the safe testing and deployment of new technologies. And that is why on September 12th, I announced a Vision for Safety 2.0. It's a framework to promote improvements in transportation safety, mobility, and access through automated driving systems. Change is so fast, though, that the department is already at work on the next version of this automated vehicle guidelines. And on November 2nd, I announced the Drone Integration Pilot Program. It will accelerate the safe integration of drones into our airspace by creating new partnerships between local governments, the FAA, and private drone operators. These partnerships will allow local communities to experiment with new drone applications, including package delivery, emergency inspections, and many more applications on terms that work for them and in ways that support a unified and safe airspace. We've seen in the past hurricanes how important drones can be in inspecting the damage and assessing the potential road ahead in terms of repairs and reconstruction. But the two examples that I gave of disruptive technologies that the department is addressing are just two. There's so much more to come, and creativity and innovation are part of the dissemination and the creation of all this new technology. So our job at the department is to prepare the way for the integration of new emerging technologies so that they can be safely deployed and usher in a new era of service, access, and mobility. So I'm so pleased to be here to say a few words about what my department is doing in terms of facing the future. And Prime Minister Abe has emphasized innovation and creativity, and I thought that I would give you an update on what we are doing. Thank you all so much for what you are doing to build bridges of understanding between East and West. Thanks for having me.